I got to figure out if that works.
I mean, you can do that, but okay, we are live. Where is the border? Oh, you moved it like way over.
Move over a little bit. Okay, that's
okay. Let me angle the computer so I can still see comments. Well, I don't want to melt things. Okay. Okay, welcome to today's episode of the Ascension Cast with special guest
Bryan.
Yeah, so today is Bryan and Bryan and Frank.
Yep.
So,
yeah, it's great to be here hanging out around the fire. We got a quarter moon in Libra, so that's cool stuff to work with.
Yeah. This is the first time we've been on camera since, what was that, 22?
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, it's cool to be visiting back here in Ohio and hanging out with friends.
Yeah, and I'm back in Ohio just as December. Have been gone a long time. You were...
I've been living in upstate Washington, just kind of doing my thing up there, living right on the oceans and the trees. It's a blessing. This life is really blessed.
And that, how long have you been gone? You've been gone like
3 years.
3 years.
Yep.
Wow.
I left the cities about 3 years ago and have been living in a small cabin, just kind of not exactly off the grid, but definitely out of the matrix and the city grids. And it's really a beautiful thing to be able to work just a little bit and have a lot of time for contemplation and doing the inner work, working on my own ascension, purifying my personality, and getting to a point where, yeah, I'm able to see that light and that truth and embody it more and more, or at least doing the best I can with it.
Yeah, that's great. The beautiful area you're in. I mean, I went when I was in Washington, and it didn't quite line up where we met up. I just love the land up there. It's so beautiful. Yeah. Definitely magical, and I love being by the ocean. So yeah,
totally.
Anyone watching? I don't see any comments. Okay. So part of this is also testing the equipment out. So we took this great opportunity to kind of work the bugs out of the system and hang out with friends. It's been a long time, and coming back to Ohio in December, it's not been that bad. How is your experience coming out of a higher vibe place back into Ohio? What do you notice?
So it's like a higher vibe place. It's like it can be that, but Ohio, like it's, I grew up around here, been in and out a lot of my adult life, and I'm very grateful to notice all the greenery and the hills and the parks over here. The parks all around here. Like I've done a lot of hikes and just really appreciating like what a beautiful place it is, and noticing with my own personal growth and where I am at spiritually and emotionally, how much I've grown. And many of my old relationships, especially family and other people, it's just being able to appreciate them more and more, and noticing that I'm a very different person than I was when I left. And it's a great thing to have that perspective, to come back and revisit relationships and people that I love and connect in person. And it's a really great insight into me to notice when I react or maybe I judge, and all these processes going on in my mind. Just coming back to being in a place of love, being in a place of where universal acceptance, and appreciating everybody for where they are on their path and who they are, and just like a point where like everything is good, everybody's on their path, and noticing again in myself, like, wow, I get triggered. There's all sorts of things going on, and this is a beautiful opportunity for me to hold the mirror and see those things that trigger me or the judgments that go on in the mind, and be like, okay, why is this triggering me? Why are these energies coming up? And I'm using this as a catalyst to really dig up some of the deep psychological imprints and emotional imprints from my earlier childhood, my young adulthood. Well, I'm still a young adult, but relatively. But just noticing all that, and this catalyst is such a great opportunity to see those parts of me that need illuminated, and this whole idea of ascension, being able to ascend my own consciousness, my own thoughts, my own emotions, and come to a point where I'm seeing everything as it is with more clarity, and seeing people for who they are, beautiful human beings with even greater clarity, and just like being here. It's good.
Yeah, I've noticed that same experience. I go away for extended periods of time and come back, and it was almost a test of where I've been or how far along my journey I've come. And when I'd come back the first few times, I'd be very triggered and I'd be angry and trying to fix them. And then as I started to come back, I'd be less triggered, and I'm like, oh, wait a second, they're not making me angry. I'm getting angry over these things. So it was an internal reframing. I'm like, oh, and they're where they're at. They're going to grow or they're going to not. But I'm going to live my best life. I'm going to radiate my biggest and best love and light out. And if they choose to change and take that as an opportunity to change, that's on them, not me. And I'm not going to let them get me to get angry, so it's not them making me angry, it's me getting angry over them. So it's an interesting thing seeing that, and a lot of parallels, because you being a traveler and a nomad, and having that same experience coming back to home where we grew up and where we were and where all our old connections are.
Absolutely. And this that whole idea, like you're talking about, not being triggered by other people and just looking within for what's happening when there's an external stimulus, say like a family member or an old friend or somebody, can really bring up those old patterns and things in us, and we want to, like, that stuff will come up. And these opportunities are really such a great thing to work with those shadows and work with those old energies, and kind of bring this back around to the idea of ascension being an inside job. It's like, I used to think back in my earlier 20s where, I was all about ascended masters, and like the earth is going to be raised by these light beings and we're going to go into a new dimension. It's like that. I do believe there is merit to that over time. Like, yes, the earth is moving into a new field, a new energy and rising, but many people use that as a escape or an out to doing the internal work. And ascension is not something that's going to come from the outside. The sky is not going to open and the aliens come and save us. Like, oh, you're a light being now, we're going to raise your vibration. It's like, no. This place is a school. No matter how fucked up it is, yeah, we all know there's all sorts of dark things going on. But just like we're talking about not being triggered by these people in our lives, it's the same thing with this system. Even though there is darkness going on, that doesn't stop our ascension. That's a greater catalyst for us to look at things and raise our vibration. Ascension being an inside job, it's something that we do every day, in every moment, in every interaction. It's not about raising our bodies to light and becoming new beings. This is levels of consciousness, and all these dimensions, this idea of fourth dimension, fifth dimension, and beyond. These are states of consciousness that we occupy and that we can rise into with our own internal work. And through purifying any of the traumas, the imbalances in our own personalities, psyches, belief systems, we begin to ascend to a higher vibration and a higher level incrementally. And as we're doing this more and more, creating new patterns, new ways of thinking, new ways of being, we begin to ascend. And this is a job each person must do within themselves, within their own sphere of sensation and reality. So it's not looking to anything outside to raise our consciousness, but it's the internal work. Then the lens through which we perceive the reality will begin to ascend, will have a higher vibration. And slowly, through purifying ourselves, raising our vibrations internally, the outward world will reflect that. And as we do this as individuals, this moves on to our families, this moves on to our close friends, our children, even our parents to some degree. And then gradually, by working within our own light and ascending within our own spheres and realities, all the people around us begin to ascend. And as each person does this job, that's what raises reality. Like I can be in a supermarket surrounded by people, be flying around in 5D, having a great time, a great day, and a person right next to me, they can be having a super shitty day, yelling at their kids. And it's like that doesn't affect me. I can exist in this higher dimension while coexisting with all that. And that's part of the mystery I'm still really trying to figure out. Like, okay, there's all these things happening around me, and I would see that as lower vibration and unascended. But if I just change the way I think to a more ascended thought and frequency, it's like, wow, maybe those people that I'm judging, maybe they're doing 50 times better than they were 2 years ago, and they are ascending from where they were. But to me, I may judge that as like, oh, that's a low vibration, and realizing that that type of thought doesn't really do anything. It's all about putting the thought into what's good and true and what we want to see, and continually, again, raising our own vibrations, you know?
Yeah, like the 100th monkey syndrome. So as we're putting this out into the collective consciousness, it starts to raise the tide, and the tide raises all boats. So coupling that with the Schumann resonance raising the frequency of the sun, you know, if you look at it, it's white, it's not yellow anymore. So it's definitely increased vibration. So as the sun gets more energetic, it energizes the earth, bringing up that. And as you bring up the vibration, that brings up the consciousness level. So then the tide raises all boats as the collective consciousness raises. We're on air right now talking about extraterrestrials, talking about consciousness, talking about spiritual topics. A decade ago, we wouldn't have been able to do this without people thinking we're crazy. So, I mean, the fact that it's on the news, you know, some of this, not that I value what's on mainstream news, but the fact that it's broadcast out to the normies, extraterrestrials, I mean, that's unheard of, you know, and the fact that nobody freaked out. And, you know, think about if they had done this back in the 50s or 60s, and, you know, how big of a thing Roswell was. Now, people don't even blink. They talk about UFOs, you know, in the public sector, and no one bats an eyelash or even really talks about it anymore.
Yeah, and that's a huge sign, like you're saying, the fact that all around us, we have these types of spiritual discussions with people we consider normies, and also people we consider really spiritually highly evolved people. Like, these types of streams are all over the internet all the time. You go on Amazon, you can get books on any topic spiritual, from extraterrestrials to working with higher dimensions to occult and metaphysical studies. If you look in the past 10 years, how fast things have been moving, technological advancements, the ability to communicate, all this is evidence of that. The entire earth and the solar system is raising in vibration in a higher spectrum of light, and that is ascension. It's hard to see when we're looking at our reality right now how fast we're really moving. I mean, 100 years ago, people were going, or maybe 120 years ago now, people were going around in a cart and buggy.
Yeah.
And, you know, like if you wanted to go to a big city, that might be a 4-week travel. If you want to go to a library and get a couple books on spirituality, it's like, wow, that might take you months if you're rich enough to do it. Now, at the click of a finger, any of us with our phone can be any Akashic record through Google and get any book, anything you want. That is ascension. That is consciousness raising and the energy raising. Look how fast I got here now. Like, it took me 5 hours to fly from the West Coast over to Ohio.
Yeah,
like, that's amazing.
Within one day, I got to the other side of the planet.
Yeah.
I mean, that used to take months journey, you know, so going to Australia took 24 hours. I mean, that's just amazing. And then the information we have access to now, you can get on Google or any search engine and find anything really. Now there is a darker side to that where the information is being controlled and in various ways, but still, if you get on an uncensored search engine, DuckDuckGo, Yandex, you can find almost anything. And it's really amazing. Ancient scrolls that used to be, kept in secret societies or in ancient languages which weren't understood, now they're translated and available to the general public. It's an amazing time to be in.
Yes, it really is. We're so blessed to be in this time and this opportunity for ascension. And like, really, I notice in my personal life that when I'm really focused on my practices and doing the actual great work, whatever that looks like for me, like I'm evolving faster and faster each and every month, each and every year. Like if I look back at the person I was 10 years ago, that feels like it's 20 lifetimes ago. Like in this life alone, I feel like I've become so many different people. And like, I've noticed that like many old friend groups and people have vibed out of my life because it's like, I'm ascending, I'm raising more and more. And then there's a lot of people who stay, but it's like, I've just noticed how quickly I can change with even less effort. It's like that energy is amplified when you're doing the work, especially with what we have going on in the solar system, the increased light and just the acceleration of time and energy and all of these contacts from benevolent extraterrestrials and channels and beings that are giving us information and light and love. They're amplifying the work that we do. And we really have this opportunity, I believe, to ascend in this lifetime to where we can raise above this cycle of reincarnation and recycling. Because as many of you know on this podcast, it's a very unnatural thing. The fact that people just keep recycling again and again and again on the planet. But if we have the opportunity, if we can truly activate our solar light bodies and expand our consciousness to a point that we're not just within this physical, where the I am presence, which always exists in all dimensions, spaces, and times, becomes integrated with our waking now consciousness. It's like we can expand and we don't have to play this game anymore if we don't want to. And that is one of the hugest things about ascension. It's like, we're going to say no to forced reincarnation. We're going to say no to some bullshit energy system that wants to take our stuff and say, I am a sovereign being. I am God. I am free. And I'm not playing your fucking game anymore.
Yeah. And so many people are looking for the physical ascension, like getting pulled up on like almost like an ascension vacuum cleaner. I know a lot of people were talking on the internet how when the eclipse happened, it was going to be like an ascension vacuum cleaner and suck people up. But that it's not what I'm seeing. What I'm noticing, especially with people I'm working with, is this ascension of consciousness, where being able to talk about some of these spiritual topics and not only just talk about it like, oh, there's little green men out there or something, being able to talk about the spiritual ramifications of so much going on and have people actually understand it. And then of the energy as well. People have always had spiritual energy. That's the one thing ignored, the ether. They talk about the physical body, they talk about the mental body in modern medical, but they don't talk about the energetic body. And a lot of the modern illness is created by 5G and Wi-Fi, and because that negatively impacts the energy body. But people are so focused on the physical, they're not looking for that ascension of consciousness, ascension of energy. And when you work through some of these ancient traditions of, moving your kundalini up, or some of the Egyptian practices of pushing your life force up into your higher energy regions, that creates an energetic or a spiritual ascension. So you can't see that with your physical eyes, but you can see it with your spiritual eyes. But most people are looking for this spiritual ascension. And the people I work with now, you used to take, a long time working with them, or, even in my process, it took years and years and years to tune into my abilities. Sometimes I'll work with them, pull out the blocks, go in hypnosis, get rid of their fear and a few other things. And when they come back out, they're like, oh, I can see this. I can hear this. I can talk to this being. Are you noticing? Well, you work with the physical body, but well, you said,
Oh,
you're noticing this
Yeah.
exponential increase, month by month. You're seeing like a lifetime of growth.
It's like I work with the physical body and massage, and I also work with a lot of clients with energetic, different pranic healing and kind of my own sound type thing. It's like, but the thing is with this, the physical body will follow the spiritual vibrations, like
Yeah.
you were talking about. When we're focused on just fixing the physical or working on the physical plane, that's really not working with the root cause of things. The physical is manifested from the ethers, from the thought, from the spiritual and energetic centers. So it's like when we work with those, we can directly affect the physical. Now, at the same time with that, sometimes the physical can be so messed up and literally fucked up that it's like working directly on the physical body will also create the opening and the release in the spiritual. So
Yeah, I've noticed, you have your three bodies down here, your physical body, your energetic body, and mental body. Um, you can get in a car wreck and, break your leg, and then that will cause an energetic block in your leg. So, and then that can cause mental blocks as well, and the corresponding areas of your body that can cause trauma. So you go from the physical actual trauma, the energetic block, into the mental trauma. But it can go the other way around. So all bodies affect all your bodies.
yeah,
But
it's like this has to do with semantics and words. The idea that we talk about a physical, a mental, a spiritual, yes, they are separations, but outside of language, that doesn't really mean anything. Like the physical body and the spiritual body are really one thing. There's different layers and different dimensionality of these things, but in all reality, it's completely interconnected, and one affects the other affects the one, and there's no separation in that. We have these convenient ways to label these things and name them, all these different chakras, all these different energies, things like that. But when it comes down to it, really working with the energy of light, the energy of being, which is life itself. And as we ascend and we work with this energy, it's like we don't ignore the physical and just focus on the spiritual, because the spiritual is physical and the physical reality is a spiritual expression. Like all these things are they're really one. And as we begin to raise our consciousness and ascend, it's like all of that will start to raise in an equal manner. And it's like, yes, we will begin to vibrate faster, and you might notice like, oh, you need less food or lighter food, things like that. With the physical, it'll begin to sustain itself more and more off the pranic vibrations. And that's a lot of what the Taoist masters talk about, the yogis with pranayama and their systems. And even like you're saying, going back to the Egyptian people, like they had some pretty complex ascension rituals. I mean, we kind of know what these pyramids were made for.
Oh, yeah. And I've noticed even just in raw land, going to different places, Key West, which was where old Atlantis was, or one of the Atlantean era colonies, I just, with sunshine and the energy of the land, barely had to eat anything, a little bit of fruit. Certain areas in Hawaii, now not all areas in Hawaii, there's some lower vibration, areas there, and you just felt drained. Ohio, I've noticed I need more physical food, more physical energy to be able to survive in this energy here of Ohio.
Yeah, it's definitely like, I think there's cycles to a lot of that. When we're in a place like Hawaii, yeah, it's full of mana, it's full of prana.
Yeah.
Like you eat some of the fruit that's grown out of the bioactive soil from the volcanoes. It's a high vibration. And I've noticed, especially traveling here, like I've been eating a lot more since I've been here.
Okay, so it isn't just me then.
Yeah.
Like I'm in some of these high energy places, barely have to eat, maybe just a little bit of fruit. Then I come back to Ohio and I'm like, I'm starving because I'm not getting the energy from the ethers. I have to get it from the physical. That's an interesting observation.
Yeah, it is. I think a lot of it has to do with kind of the ritual of eating in that way. I find myself with friends and family, like they want to eat, they want to go out to eat, and it's like so much of this is food centric and like around that, around that. And also with traveling, when I'm in a lot of movement, I notice that like sometimes the physical body just needs more. There's more output, and
Yeah.
that's okay. And when I'm deeper in my spiritual practices, like I'll often do a 48-hour fast every week and like feel amazing doing that. I'll wake up at the tail end of that fast at 3 a.m. and have like an awesome 3-hour kind of spiritual practice. And it's like things are clear. My inner vision is clear. The clairaudience, clairvoyance is just so much like lighter, and the vibrations are, say, faster, perhaps. And just this, all these ideas that we have that we need a lot of food or we need all these physical things all the time. So many of it's just belief systems. And we're so conditioned by the matrix to always be taking in physical substance. Like, that's not a bad thing. That's God too. And it's like food is enjoyable. Let's say, say the truth about that. But really, it starts to come down to what do we really want? If we're working on ascending our consciousness and we want to become more light beings and expand our consciousness beyond this physical body, as we begin to identify with it less and less as who we are and begin to identify with our actual consciousness, our thoughts, our expanding field, it's like those things take a back seat. It's like you have to sacrifice certain things in order to pursue the loftier goals. I myself, it's like I'm more interested in exploring the astral and exploring the higher dimensions and really seeing if this lifetime, if I can break this cycle of needing to reincarnate. And that may mean I need to give up a lot of those more animal pleasures and things with food and physical things. Like I find myself like I have pretty much zero interest in watching television or even YouTube a lot of the time.
Yeah.
It's just my consciousness doesn't want to go there. It's like, wow, I can go to a different planet on the astral plane and create a body with my consciousness where I can feel things, I can taste, I can touch, I can see, and realizing that like, wow, it's pretty much the same thing I'm doing on the physical here, but I've just been doing that longer.
Yeah. And, anytime I do see TV or a movie, I just pick out the programming in it and I'm like, no, thank you. I'm good on that. And it just doesn't even appeal to me. Now with the food, I wasn't given a choice. You say when you fast, you feel lighter and you feel better.
Yeah.
Early on my spiritual path, I got the carrot. I feel really good like that. I feel a lot more alive, a lot clearer, a lot lighter. If I'm eating the correct diet. And then I also had the stick. I will get physically ill if I eat certain foods like gluten, dairy, even meat. And by having that extra motivator behind me, I started to feel a lot better.
Yeah. Sometimes it's the physical illness will work as a catalyst for that. And these times when we suffer, it's trying to tell us, like the universe is trying to tell us that something needs to change.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes if we don't listen to the intuition or kind of that knowing, it's like we'll get the kick in the ass, which will force us to change.
Yeah.
I found the same thing with I came from a family that smoked a lot of tobacco and things like that. And earlier in my life, I did all that a lot. Now it's like I can choose to be at a tobacco ceremony at certain times, but it's like I gave that up and it made me physically ill for the most part. But like, where was I going with that?
It's a choice now. With the tobacco as opposed to being a compulsion.
Yeah. It's just being able and just giving those types of things up. It's like, I thought like, oh, I like this. I always want to do it. Like, it's good. It's my choice. It's like, actually, no, that was controlling me. That was an addiction.
Yeah.
And giving up these addictions, these things where I don't have a choice is really a symptom, a sign of that you're raising your consciousness. When things no longer serve you and you actively give them up, there's going to be some pain. There's going to even be grieving and loss. That's part of the process. But by freeing ourselves from these things which no longer serve us, which we no longer need, we begin to lighten our lives, lighten our bodies and our vibrations. So it's easier to rise in consciousness and pursue that which we actually want. And that's really the name of the game, not looking at what's bad and wrong, not like, oh, this in the world and these reptilians are doing this and the Matrix. Yeah, they are all doing that. But where are you going to focus your consciousness? What are you really going to look at? Because what you look at looks back at you.
Yeah, the away from conflict moves us away and gets us started on the path, but the moving towards something is a much more positive motivator now. So instead of focusing on the negative, and you're actually bringing that in, because that's where you put your focus towards, where you put your consciousness to, by focusing on the positive things of what you want. Have you found that it furthers you on your path much quicker?
Oh, obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like as you focus on that, you're gonna get that laser beam focus, and you keep looking at it, you keep seeing and visualizing what you want, you're imagining, you're imaging in those things which you want to attract into your life, and that will manifest. That's how this works. What you think of will turn into your reality. Now, with that said, it's not just what you consciously think of. There's the entire subconscious and what you actually believe. So quite often people will be like, oh, I want to be wealthy and free, and I want to have plenty of money and all of these nice things, nice cars. But like, what's that really saying in the subconscious? I don't have wealth right now. I don't have this thing. And that reaching out for it is like a counter effect, because you're coming from the negative. You're coming from the place of I don't have, versus starting to feel the feelings that are associated with what would it feel like to be wealthy? What would it feel like to be abundant and have more? And as I've done that more and more, I've now created a place. It's like where I live in a beautiful place. I only have to work about 10 or 12 hours a week. And I have all this time to focus on my spiritual practice, as well as now I have, almost 3.5 years now, love of my life, like an amazing relationship, almost zero conflict. And it's just like, wow, by believing in those things and working with all the subconscious crap and clearing it out, ascending out of the muck of my subconscious, of my trauma, of all the things I was raised with that really didn't serve me. It's like, wow, I've ascended into that reality, which I've been imagining, and I actually believe it now. Like the subconscious patterns, those are not completely gone. It's like they really, really fell to the background. And when that happens, it's like then there's room to ascend into that reality that you want.
Yeah. Oh, that's okay. We got a fire tender built in over there. Yeah. I just keep hoping the battery doesn't die on the camera. But
how many people we got?
We have one person watching us. We got one thumbs up. So hey, if you're watching, throw some comments up. Oh, was that you, Frank?
It might have been.
Okay. Yeah, if you're watching, we'd love to interact with you, answer questions. So I was in a meditation the other day, and I mean, it's nothing really new, but I realized it's about not doing, it's about being, just being authentically me and radiating that out, and then that impacts everything around me. So it's balancing. But then in the meditation I did just recently, it's like, okay, I'm just being, I don't have to do anything. But then there's that, this is about the experience, and I want to do and build and create. But then you go back to, well, it's about just the being. So it's that balancing the masculine and feminine, the just being, and then the doing, the masculine creating, the doing, the whereas, so have you experienced that in your meditations where you're like, okay, I don't have to do anything, I can just be here, just experience. But then you're like, okay, no, I'm on a mission here, I got to do this, do that. And then you realize, well, the mission got me to the state where I can just be in the being, not the doing.
I've come to the point where my spiritual teacher has been challenging me for years to be in what he calls the void, the emptiness of just being. And quite often my meditations in the evening, rather than formal meditation, sitting, and like I used to do that for hours and hours. I still do, but it's more like this evening, like, oh, I want to go build this thing or do this project. And I choose like no, I'm just going to sit here with whatever feelings come up. Like, why do I want to do this thing? Why do I want to build? What is the actual state I want to accomplish through this? And by sitting in the void and just letting feelings, desires, even impulses to do, build, create in a masculine way, just letting them pass through me, it's like I come to this place of stillness and being. And from that place and stillness of being, without conscious thought or even effort, I'll find myself, say the next day or later that evening, like, wow, I just got up now and I got on the computer and I did music for 3 hours and made a MIDI track, or I got out some paints and stuff like this and I just made a piece of art. And it wasn't from this place of go, do, build, create, but from the stillness, from just being and sitting in that space, the action arises spontaneously. It's like the energy of spirit coming down in me and through me, inspiring me to create, versus trying to create from this place of ego, which is often driven by fear of lack or not having. Like, oh, I have to go out and do and build and create. I have to go build this house and get this land. Like, I want to do all sorts of things in my life. I would like to work on community building, have 80 or more acres, more up in somewhere out in the woods. Like, those are amazing things. But if I'm trying to do that from a place of ego, that like a need to create, that's actually driven from fear of not having. But if I can get into that place of being where those fears pass through me, the desires pass through me, I see them for what they are. And then I'm able to create from my awareness of being aware in my heart what is good, seeing the truth of things with my mind. Then I can bring my heart and my mind together into my will, down into the belly, and actually create from that place of what is good and what is true, rather than a place of ego trying to go and create. And I think that kind of goes with what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, that place of being is where we need to be. That is the I am presence there, when you can just be without all this mind chatter, without all this ego trying to, well, that's almost like a dog barking at everything. Oh, I want that. I want to chase that tire. It's like, no, sit, be good. And then it's like, wow, we can create and we can do from a place of emptiness. And it's like, that's a key. And but that doesn't mean that you're not being a masculine, not doing. What it means is it's not coming from a fear-driven ego.
We're programming. I found that was something big because, school, you have to, go to school, do this, constantly be in motion, come home, do homework, get up, do it all over again. Then you go from school to college to work, and it's always being in this constant motion until you realize, wait a second, I can get rid of, step out of that mental prison I'm in and just stop and breathe, listen to the wind.
I'm going to bed and I'm turning these lights out.
Okay.
I gotta sleep.
All right.
Okay, well, this is kind of why I didn't want to pick this spot, but okay, well, I mean, with that little light, you can still see us, kind of, and I mean, the important thing is hearing us, so you can see the fire, you can see us. Can you see how we're doing on the battery life over there? Okay. So.
Yeah.
Old triggers.
Yep.
But no, it has been good being around family. It's just, again, like, okay, not gonna get triggered by it. It's just interesting. It's stepping into that. Well, I did a DMT journey, which was everything from hellacious to heavenly, all in the same experience. I was gone for an infinity. I lived an infinite number of lifetimes, birth till death. But I came out of that with this understanding that none of it matters. And not that it, you pulled it up on your phone over there. It's not that it doesn't matter, but it's the emotional attachment that we put onto the meaning of everything happening doesn't matter.
Right.
So it's not good or bad, the situation's happening, they're just happening. It's our attachment, emotional attachment that we put that makes it pain or pleasure. So it's, just, as an example, pain or pleasure, like it's some people enjoy pain as pleasure. So it's our perspective of how we're looking at it and how we're experiencing. So I came out of that with none of this actually matters. And it's like all, I've had quite a few people that get almost upset with me because I'm not emotional when things happen. They're like, is this a game to you or something? I'm like, yes, absolutely, it is. But do I take this game seriously? Yes. But at the same time, no, I don't, because it's just the experience. Now, does it mean, like all action should be measured through love and respect? Is it loving and respectful to everybody involved? But as far as attaching emotional meaning to it, it's not necessary. It's only going to be an emotional burden, weigh us down if we're worried about everything, and that would develop anxiety, worried about the future, or lamenting over the past, depression.
I think the name of the game there is attachment. We often become attached to certain pictures in our mind, which we project into the future, which we think will make us happy or fulfilled or satisfied. Like, oh, if I just get that perfect wife, or once I get my new house or my new car, then I'll be happy. There's been so many times in my life that it's like, oh, I got that new shiny thing, or I just got that $2,000 hand drum that I've wanted for years and years. It's great, but okay, I got that. What's next? It's like always this attachment to this idea that some point in the future, or some physical item, some emotional state, or some achievement is going to fulfill us. That is an illusion. That none of that really matters. What is real is here and now. What is real is people connecting with other human beings, mind to mind, heart to heart, spirit to spirit. And all this stuff happening around us, like you said, it's illusionary. It will always pass and change. And our emotions, our thoughts are always changing and flowing like a river. And with these emotions that come and go, it's like all that, like you said, it's temporal. And if we attach ourselves to that, thinking that that's going to be the answer, that's what we want, then it's like we're always going to suffer.
Yeah.
But to be actually in the moment and try to make love happen at every moment, no matter what's happening around you, no matter what you're doing, if you can find value, meaning, and purpose in every phenomenon in your life, it's like then you'll start to see the truth, and you start to be living in a state of love and bliss that's not attached to a certain outcome or something that we desire. But it's like in the moment, if we can be happy, even it's like not exactly happy, but sometimes life's kind of shitty. Car breaks down. You're stuck out in the middle of nowhere. You have a breakup. Like those things happen. It doesn't mean that you're not going to feel bad or have the emotions of grief and sadness. But like if you can be in that moment and not project into the future that something's going to change and make it all better, but actually feel what you're going to feel without resistance and let it flow through you, then it's exactly that. The energy will flow through you. The emotion will flow through you, and it'll be done. You're not attached to the good or the bad. And that is actually being in the moment. That's what was meant by the Psalm, that there is no good or evil, only thinking makes it so. It's what we attach to it. It's how we frame and think about a situation or an experience that makes it so. And again, so often we just project into the future thinking, well, once I do this or get that, it's going to be so much better. That's really the illusion. That's just some image in your mind. What's happening is here and right now. The kingdom of heaven is within you and all around you and in every moment. And if we can choose to see that versus projecting into the future and literally trying to escape the present moment, then we become more aware. We become more embodied in our awareness, our I am presence, and what is actually happening in our universe and in the world around us.
Yeah, I've so many times tried to, well, this person can become this, and then our life together is going to be perfect, or, oh, that guy's capable of, like being this, and we can start a business together and make this happen. And it's all a projection of what could be instead of, well, they're here now, and I just need to accept them where they're at. If they grow, they grow. If they don't, they don't. But, like, it's not trying to force them. And you mentioned it briefly, but one of my biggest things I value is human connection. It's not things, it's not even about the experiences or the places anymore. One from my travels and meeting so many amazing people is that uh that human connection, that talking, that uh discovering new information, working together with another being, a reflection of ourselves, then just falling in love with humanity, being able to show up lovingly with each person that you meet and talk to. And it's not even if you agree with them and go, oh, this person's great, it's, well, I don't agree with that person, but I'm still going to meet them with love. And that in all my travels, that's been one of the things I value most, is that human interaction, and just, person to person, heart to heart, soul to soul communication. I mean, basically what we do all the time when we connect, when we talk. That's, I value that.
Yeah, that is the key. Again, just coming back to that human connection and seeing another person with love, compassion, and really accepting them exactly where they're at without any desire to change them, to control them, or quite honestly manipulate them in any way. I've realized in the past that, not from a malevolent point of view, that like I thought I was doing good for people and trying to change them and steer them in the right direction. Like quite often, like subconsciously, it's like, wow, I'm trying to change this person. That's really me trying to manipulate, which is an invasion of free will.
Yeah.
And it's like that ability to accept a person where they're at and love them no matter what. It doesn't mean that you have to approve of things that they do, or even if, like, say someone's being an asshole, it doesn't mean that you have to approve of it, but you can accept it. You can love them for who they are and what they're doing, and you can choose to engage or not engage. But just being in that place of love and compassion, no matter what is happening, and seeing that person as a human being. They're not their actions, they're not their personality, they're not their words. Each person is an I am presence, is a spark of God looking through the eyes of the soul. And they're here having this human experience, and they're wearing a personality and beliefs and programming, just like we wear clothing and shirt.
Yeah.
Those things can be taken off, but underneath that, we are luminous I am presences, spiritual beings having this human experience. And to see and value each person as a real human being filled with love and light and the same substance that I'm made of, you are made of, Frank's made of, that everybody's made of, knowing that we are all the same in that way, and choosing to see each person as that spiritual being, no matter what's happening. It's like, that is actual universal love. That is being unconditional. And that can also be one of the most challenging things that we can possibly do.
Yeah. And I've noticed this change in me. When I started out, I wanted to heal everybody. I'm like, you're broken, let me fix you. Now it's like, you connect and you see where they're at. You see, okay, you're there. Are you ready? Can I give you a hand? Can I lift you up? And if they're not ready or willing or even want to, well, you know what? It's not on me that they didn't choose to heal. And I can't get them to heal. I can give them a hand. Here, I'll guide you on the path, but it's really you doing the work. Especially hypnosis is one of my favorite tools now. We're working with the mind, cracking that mind open, taking them inside their own mind and getting them to release the traumas, the programming, everything holding them back, so then they can start walking the path. But I'm not doing anything besides opening the door for them to heal themselves.
Mm-hmm. It makes me think of the words attributed to Christ there. It's like, I am the open door.
Yeah.
And that whole idea, like you're talking about, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. That's a old adage,
Yeah.
but that's
So sometimes, and especially in the beginning, that was painful. I'm like, you're broken. I can fix you really easy. Let me fix you. And if they weren't there, if they weren't ready, it wasn't an easy fix. It was something that they weren't ready to do. So I couldn't force them to heal. I couldn't force them to grow.
That's the I used to be that way as well, wanting to heal everybody, to fix everybody, had whole businesses based on like, I'm going to do all this energy work and release eons of trauma from you all at once, and you're going to be able to ascend afterwards, and all these ideas. And I mean, it was lofty goals, and a lot of it was misguided. I realize now, seeing that each person is an individual, they're going to make their own choices, they're at different levels of their evolution. And what I'm seeing as them maybe doing really shitty actions and making bad choices, if I could have seen where they were 5 years ago, they may have freaking been 10 lifetimes beyond what their parents were, where they're at. And also, one of the most powerful things I've seen, when I see something in somebody else, a good majority of the time, I'm always holding that mirror back in a reflection. Because if I'm making a judgment in a person, how does that reflect to me? Like, what is it in me that I'm seeing in this person that I want to fix? Now, with that said, there is a spiritual discernment which is developed over time. There's a difference between judging and damning and thinking you're going to fix, and actually spiritually discerning and seeing things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know,
And
like it's not that you have to turn a blind eye or, you know, have no preference. You just, like you said, it's discernment. You can just see things and, you know, judge them as not good or bad. It's just where they're at, unless they're committing crimes against humanity, then put their head on a stake. Or harming children. But
there's certain things there's like there's a line that once crossed, I will not stand for that. And that
you
line,
know, there's got to be zero tolerance. And, you know, modern Christianity has been so programmed to, turn the other cheek. Well, that's the same guy that said, you know, chased people out of the temple with a whip, or said, if you don't have a sword, sell your cloak and buy one. So it wasn't about being a pacifist. It's about standing for what's right. And, you know, sometimes that does take rough men to do, you know, violent things to make sure that the good people are protected and continue to live a good life. So,
like that line right there, like, if someone's trying to break into my home or is attacking my woman, I'm going to neutralize that.
Yes, and absolutely.
That is the correct action at that point.
Yeah.
This whole idea of God is love, it's like, that's very true. But love does not mean that you just like practice the yogic idea of ahimsa to the point of no violence, no matter what. It's like, no, the universe doesn't work like that. Nature doesn't work like that. You look around at this kingdom, even the myceliums eating the forest.
Yeah.
Like, everything is in these cycles and these movements, and there is violence in the natural world, like a lion killing the prey, like they ate the baby zebra. But then there's that love that the whole pride is fed. And it's like this idea that we're supposed to be pacifist is really just a way to dumb down and dull people out of their power.
Yeah, pacify the masses, turn them into sheeple.
Yes. Now, at that same thing, that same energy which can be used to protect your family and protect your people has been taken the other way and taken to extreme to conquer and dominate. Now, that is how to balance.
That as well.
This is how we come back into the masculine and feminine, like you were talking about, trying to get to that middle path of, there's a time to live and a time to die, a time for war and a time for peace. Those ideas, learning how to wield that sword as a defensive thing or as an aggressive thing, is really part of balancing one's personality and balancing one's relationship with the universe. And it's like, as we do that more and more, we are able to discern what is correct in each moment. It's going to be different from situation to situation, time to time. There is no absolute right and absolute wrong. It's all relative.
Yeah. And there's got to be this balance, you know, like I say, heads on stakes a lot. That would solve a lot of problems. You commit crimes against humanity, remove your head from the shoulders, put it on stake, nail charges to said stake. But some of these other crimes that people get locked up for stupid stuff, possession of a plant, let's call it what it is. It's possession of a plant. Think about how many people went to jail over that, or, minor crimes, or even drug addiction. Even with the hardcore drugs, these people get drug addicted and they get, busted for possession. I think our penal system needs to be revamped for those type of people that, haven't crossed the line into crimes against humanity and just need to be reincarnated.
Or recycled in the Great Central Sun.
Yeah, or send them to God and let him judge. And but for the other crimes, psychedelic therapy could be huge. Think about if they're a drug addict and just surviving on meth. Well, instead of locking them up in a cage, we'll get them help. Why are they a drug addict? What can you do to help them?
What sort of spiritual pain did they go through that drove them to that? Because I found myself, I've never really been addicted to hardcore drugs, but it's like I've just been certain things like, that little bit of oxy is tasty. I can see how spiritually I tried to escape towards that stuff, and it feels good, and how easy it would be to slip into that. And those are people who are really crying out to try to find value in their life, meaning, purpose, and they want to belong. They're looking for something that'll make them feel better, feel more connected, or even just dull out the pain. And that's not a crime. That's just people trying to find their way and trying to feel okay and trying to just like make it in life. And that can go way too far. And like you were speaking, it's like, yeah, that system punishes those people and praises the other. And we all know that the system is totally broken.
Yeah. I mean, they get money for every person they have locked up. So they don't want to heal people.
Yeah, you're talking about the privatization of
so if you take those addicts and you create a facility like Chipsa Hospital in Tijuana, where they use iboga or 5-MeO-DMT to help these addicts, they have a 95% success rate of curing addiction, all the way from methamphetamine, heroin, all the way down to nicotine and caffeine. And their studies over a 15-year period, 95% success rate, not in treating addiction, but curing it. So those people locked up in prison, if you just run them through that, or, some of these other minor crimes where they're violent, or they're, just creating chaos in society. Why are they doing that? Can we, go through and maybe do like a PTSD healing for them with MDMA? Or a soul retrieval, or, there's many different aspects of how to get people healed. I like plant medicine because it works with the physical body. It will actually detox the physical body. It works with the mental body, and it works with the energetic body. So you have this spiritual experience. So it's those plants, depending on which one, each one has a different lesson. Each one has a different healing it brings. But it works whole body, whereas hypnosis works with the mind. And then that bleeds into the other areas and other bodies. Whereas, say, massage, you can release people's tension, and then that can release an emotional trigger. So, but the plant medicine seems very comprehensive. What is your experience? Do you feel the same way about working with plant medicine?
Plant medicine in the right context, especially a ritualistic context, has definitely personally healed me in the most profound ways. Working with ayahuasca, especially working with the grandmother there, I have traveled into my deepest, darkest shadows and purged that shit out. And I've emerged a changed man. And working deeply with psilocybin, another one of my most amazing plant teachers, going to the deepest spiritual lessons, and then sometimes getting, once you have a relationship with them, some harsh ass truths that whoop your ass. But it forces you to look, introspect, and gives you the ability to change. Because once you see the truth of something, the truth sets you free. Once you see what's actually going on, you can't go back to that bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely. with especially psychedelics, you can see from a completely different point of view and angle. I had what some people would call like a bad trip, but it was amazing. I was like in the Middle Ages. It was many different experiences, but I was on the flip sides of them. So I was like in the Middle Ages on the rack being tortured, understanding, experiencing, feeling what that person's feeling. And then as an observer, I was in the other person, seeing what that person felt, seeing what they experienced, what they're going through. And then it just went through all these where there was a victim and someone causing the pain. And I got to go through all these different flip sides of experience to understand humanity and understand the psyche and the psychology between action and reaction, how people interact with each other, and some of the most poignant experiences in humanity. So that was I mean, you could watch a movie about it, but never experience that. Yeah. So the fact that I was able to like firsthand experience both sides of all these traumatic incidences was just amazing and mind-blowing, painful, poignant, but an amazing experience.
I can definitely relate to that. I've been in that point, that same exact experience where I've been on both sides of the coin of like victim and oppressor, even stuff that I haven't done. Like I've scried into different events in humanity and have been able to be on both sides of that coin. And it's like, wow, even the so-called person on the oppressor side or a person committing a crime, like they're having all this pain and all these things happening too. And it's like being able to have compassion for that. Not saying that I approve of that. I can accept that this is happening, but it doesn't mean that I approve of that point of view. But understanding it and seeing both sides of a coin,
Yeah.
it's really a transformational experience. And it's like realizing that we've all been on both sides of this coin. Like I've been a complete asshole at points in my life to people. I've hurt people in relationships. I've lied. I've done bad shit in my past. And it's like, wow. And I can see where I did that. It's like I was a hurt little fucking kid.
Yeah.
Reaching out for love and this and that didn't know any better, didn't know what else to do. And it's like, wow. And I've learned to have compassion for me. And that's a huge part from being able to see all these different aspects and sides of the coin in situations. It's like, wow, within me, within my shadow, which is also connected to the collective shadow, which the psychedelics definitely help you to see. Like we're all capable of the most horrendous deeds and also the most courageous, beautiful, giving and wonderful acts of humanity and sacrifice. It's like we are capable of all of it. And it comes down to like, what do we choose to do? What are we choosing in the moment? And even in the past, is like the past is behind us. And it's like, wow, if we choose to change and we learn and we evolve from things, that is the name of the game here. It's evolution and becoming better and better, raising our vibration, raising in light. And as we evolve as a species and we learn from our mistakes and we move forward, that is how we ascend as people. That's how we stop fucking killing each other, stop all this war, stop all this bullshit, and actually create a society of plenty, abundance based on love and goodwill. And that doesn't mean that we just, again, start right here from now. No, if there's some crazy fucking assholes killing children and doing all sorts of stuff, that needs to be stopped.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's not about tolerance and tolerating evil. But at the same time, understanding, like, you know, going through that, okay, I see this person's point of view and I see that person's point of view. I can now see even people that say maybe have a wrong point of view. I'm like, okay, I understand why you got there, how you got there. And, you know, I can offer you a hand to help you, you know, modify that point of view, especially through hypnosis. But, now it's like, okay, we don't have to agree, you know, even in lesser topics, you know, lesser things where, you know, you think purple and I like green, but you know what, that's okay. We don't
Mhm.
have to have the same point of view. And that's something society has done, is like, okay, everybody has to be a sheeple and, be the same color of sheeple. And, you have to walk in the same direction and, eat the same grass. And that's not how it has to be. So, not tolerating evil doesn't mean, well, this whole tolerance and acceptance thing, and people have been programmed to think it's not okay for them to have personal preference or be a unique individual. It's okay.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter. If you're black, be proud of it. If you're white, be proud of it. There's nothing wrong with that. You can be proud of who you are. And that's been programmed out of us. We're allowed to have preference. We're allowed to um live in different ways, and it's okay. Like, that's one of the most amazing things in my travels, is experiencing all these different cultures and seeing people do things in different ways, live different lives, different lifestyles. It's okay. There's beauty in difference. You don't have to try and force everyone into one homogenous culture. It's Everybody can experience life their own way.
And that's what makes things interesting.
Yeah.
You have all these different people with different points of view, different skill sets. You have musicians and artists, you have engineers, you have people who want to be in government and want to help society. You have people who are builders, and you have some people that just want to be a stay-at-home parent. Like, all these different things are beautiful. The different way people express each other. Long hair, short hair, different colored clothing, a bunch of short, whatever it is, all these different expressions. It's what makes life interesting. It's what makes the whole palette of life really vibrant. And just when you try to homogenize everything into a watered down, just boring blob of what society says you should be, it's like the beauty goes away. It just becomes dry and black and white, maybe a couple shades of gray. And when it's like that, like, what's really the point? The joy is sucked out, the experience is sucked out, the differences are what really allow us to see who we are and understand each other.
It's taken the authenticity out of things, because now, whether you're in Ohio or whether you're anywhere else in America, it all looks the same. You go there, there's a Home Depot, there's a Lowe's, there's a Red Lobster, there's an Olive Garden. There, you just see the same cookie cutter every city now. And there's some areas like out west, there's still this unique small town feel where you get a unique diner, or you get things that look different. Like Old Town Prescott looks different than like Cleveland or something. But instead of trying to make it just one metropolis that looks the same way, you have all these variations. Like Old Town San Diego, that looks cool because it's different from Prescott and it's different from Key West, and each of them have their own unique flair. But in society now, it's just creating this 15-minute city where everything looks the same. You have a Starbucks on every corner, you have the same restaurants in every city, and it gets boring.
That's why I moved away. Like, I don't have that shit where I live.
Yeah.
I live in a small town with 2 flashing red lights and a grocery store.
Yeah, that's I really do enjoy smaller towns. I can't handle the chaos of a city.
That's been one of the most shocking things, being when I do come into the cities, because I drive there and have business to do there once a month or so.
Yeah.
It's like coming back here, I'm driving around all these highways and just everywhere. Like, you see, even in, like, I drove through my hometown, just was kind of taking a bunch of back roads, all the places I used to go and know. And, like, I swear there are 20 times more restaurants everywhere. And it's just like, it's ridiculous. It's like, yeah, it's kind of cool to go to a nice new place to eat or something, but it's like, I don't give a shit about that. Like, how can you have 50 restaurants on this 1 mile strip? Like, this energy is just like, it's sucking the energy in the form of money and life force out of the people to go and just like, okay, I'm going to indulge in this. I'm going to have this instant gratification, eat, media, eat, this and that, and social media, and movies and food and all this stuff. It's like people's minds are weakened because they're so programmed to accept instant gratification as the only thing. Like, I love home cooked meals and being around friends with fire, and like I would rather do that than sit around and watch a show or watch a movie and just consume all this media that weakens our minds and fills us with literally like fake images and fake crap. Like, I was like went out to a restaurant with my family. That was a good experience. Me and my partner went out there with my mother and father, and like, but it was a Texas Roadhouse, and like this place was a circus. Like all these like guys had to be in there and be like, "Yee-ho, how you doing, y'all?" And it was like Texas pop music, and they're all screaming about birthday. It was just like you're inside this cartoon circus, and I'm just like, okay, I played along with the family. Like, what they want to do this, whatever. I can do that and not be affected, but it's just like, this is the most ridiculous thing. That's like a $200 bill at the end for 4 people to eat.
Yeah.
It's just like, man.
Yeah, I eat pretty much rice and beans, peasant food from around the world. And I've noticed, this hyperinflation, when you're eating just rice and beans, and it's like, that's even getting expensive. $200 for 4 people. Wow. I'm to the point where if I don't make it, I don't eat it pretty much, but
I'm pretty much there. Just
yeah.
Like, went out with the family. It's like, it was what they wanted to do. Like, okay, we can do that. But
yeah, I haven't been to a restaurant. Wow. 4 people, 200. That's yeah.
Yeah. But just the environment around it was just so like, it's so fake. And like, it was literally like Texas pop. Like these artists like made this music. They were hired to make it for this restaurant. And it's just like,
I mean, all everywhere. The TVs up and the, just
even the gym I go to now, it's like the one I've been going to since I've been here in Ohio. It's like I keep my workouts up, and like there's 20 TVs on the wall. Like I'm sitting there lifting, like it's like I go and turn the fucking TV off in front of it. I know. People are like, what are you doing? Like, why do you have it's like, it's like, I'm here, like I'm going to actually be present with the movement of my body and my chi, and kind of I get in my zone. Maybe I'll put on a podcast and be listening to some cool stuff, but it's like, just again, this instant gratification and this distraction all the time. And people's like, again, going off on this, like, yeah, I have a phone. Guess what? The ringer's always off. It never has a notification. It doesn't beep at me, like anything like that. I choose when to interact with this thing. And it's like, that is a huge part of it. And like, in order to get out of this programming, we have to sacrifice a lot of this stuff. Like, it's addictive. Sometimes it's kind of cool. Like you're watching something funny. It's like, yeah, I can learn something, but like I take long fasts from YouTube and stuff like that. Even the so-called educational stuff. It's like, okay, I'm going to take a week without a screen, unless it's like, if I need to do something for work. Okay. That's a little bit different, but like, I love going long periods of time with like no media and simple things like a lot of people would do, like commercials on YouTube. It's like, when I do, well, okay, I just said I don't watch YouTube, but like, okay, I'll admit I use it for music. But anyways, like I'll pay $10 a month to not have those commercials in my life. I'm okay with that. And the fact that they never interrupt, like I don't have any, like commercials don't happen for me. And like, when I'm around people and like a commercial will come on in the middle of a song, it's like, you allow that interruption in your consciousness. It's like, yeah, it'd be better if it weren't there. But if you're only asking me for $10 a month with that, I will pay that to not have that interruption, because the continuity of my flow of consciousness and my peace of mind is more important than that. So it's like, how can we navigate around this matrix? We're in the world. We got to try to be not of it, but like all this shit's around us. How do we ascend out of that? Little hacks like turning the notifications off on your phone so it doesn't beep at you, and choosing media things, even if you got to pay to play a little bit, where there's no commercials. Like now it's the most offensive thing in the world, a commercial. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like Lipitor can help you. 2 happy women walking around together, trying to have a baby together. And they're like, oh, you're depressed in here. Now they're happy and they're waving a baby around. They took their pill. Like what the fuck is that?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, it might help your depression, might make it worse, might kill you, might cause a brain aneurysm, or,
But in fact, that's the stuff being programmed into people's minds, and it's normal. Most
Yeah.
people don't even notice that it's there. And it's
It-
just like, whoa, I hear one of those things and it like disturbs me for an hour.
Yeah, it's programming people to be consumers. In fact, that's a huge part of this domestic spying being done on the American people right now. Is not even for governmental purposes or like CIA or
Data
NSA type
collection.
stuff. Yeah, it's data collection so corporations can better sell to you. So corporations are spying on us. Corporations are actually a major driving force in the trajectory of this country.
Yes, it's been that way for a while, but now it's
Yeah.
definitely more pronounced. And this idea of like, how do we navigate this? It's like I'm guilty of using Amazon to get things. I'll
Yeah.
admit it. Or like the stores around. I would love to buy completely local, organic, totally fresh all the time, but it's like, quite honestly, like I can't afford to do that with inflation. It's like go to a store. It's like, okay, yeah, I will buy sometimes a nice $50 shirt, something cool like that. But it's like all the time for little, it's not even possible to get a lot of the staples outside of a chain store or a corporation. So it's like, what do you
Yeah.
do with that? Start like get a bidet maybe and just start wiping your ass with fucking the crap that comes in the mail, like the magazines. I mean, like if you want to buy toilet paper, you got to go to a corporation store.
Yeah, it's frustrating. It's
Yeah, where am I going to get my lump? It's like, where am I going to? I need some hardware to fix a pipe. Well, I got Home Depot or it's like Ace Hardware. There might be a little tiny mom and pop shop, and they don't got the fucking 3/4 PVC I need. So
yeah,
what do I do?
It's this frustrating prison we've imprisoned ourselves with. So
Yeah. And
yeah.
I try to learn to bless it. It's like not in a way of subserviency or not seeing it, but like I can practice gratitude. Like, oh wow, this place is here, and I can have this item. That's a state of mind right there with that.
Yeah. I mean, at the same time, as much as these megacorps are, enslaving us, and they're actually creating false hyperinflation because
Yeah.
we're raising the prices because of inflation, but they're far outpacing the price of inflation. They're doubling, tripling, quadrupling prices in the last few years, and it's not really due to actual tangible inflation. It's due to them just arbitrarily raising their prices and increasing their profits.
Yep.
But at the same time, when you go into these stores and you stop and you look around, you go, wow, I'm actually so grateful. Our ancestors never had access to half of what we do. And it's really amazing to see what's possible.
That's a huge part of it. It's the access and the availability, the quickness from which we can receive things like Amazon. We know it's going to phase out like walk-in stores over time. And that's not necessarily bad. I like the fact that I can go and just say, oh, I need this thing. It's delivered to me. I don't have to waste 2 hours driving a car, going to stores I don't want to be in. It's like, that's nice. I like those types of things. Now it's the control mechanisms and the corporations, like you spoke of, who are totally greedy and inflating is the problem. The mechanism is great.
Yeah.
It gives us more time, more energy, and less waste. It's more like Amazon is almost a manifestation on that level of being able to more instantly manifest something. Like I ordered something like last night, it arrived this next afternoon. That's a quick manifestation. I don't like the politics behind it, but if we can find a way to clean up that corporate greed and still have this quicker manifestations, like that's an evolution. That's a good thing.
I mean, it is pretty amazing. When I was out west and there was, a very few number of stores. You're out in the desert. It's, you're kind of on an island. The city, you have what stores are in the city, unless you want to drive 2 hours. So you just get on Amazon and, I was living off grid. I was boondocking. So I'd have it delivered to an Amazon box. I pick it up the next day at the Amazon box when I go into town. It was in that way, the technology is really amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But the negative side is a little bit frustrating, and hopefully as humanity raises in consciousness, we demand a better direction that things are going. And and it's not the whole imaginary Robin Hood thing, robbing the rich to give to the poor. It's not wealth redistribution. You come up with something, you put the work in, you get rewarded for it. Yet at the same time, there's they don't have to skim money out of everything. They're pinching pennies until they bleed now. Everything is subscription. Everything, the price is coming up, and they're bleeding the life force out of it. I mean, just taxes alone, you pay almost half of your income to the government. That's illegal. They're not allowed to do that, but they're saying they're implying somewhere there's law where you have to pay income tax.
Show me it.
Yeah, the IRS can't show you. In fact, employees have gotten fired when they've actually asked, well, hey, where's our code saying you have to pay taxes? You're fired. But so it's illegal what a lot of stuff is going on in the government. But if you got rid of personal income tax, like we didn't have before, what was that, 1913 or 1928, or it was in the earlier 1900s where they started that. A big move with the income tax was to get rid of the need for the taxes from the alcohol that were supporting the government. So they then personally taxed everybody. But we don't need income tax. We shouldn't have income tax. And that gets rid of, think about how much life force, if you have to work 40 hours a week, breaking your back doing this work, the government takes half of your energy, half of your life force that you expended. And then if we were to release, just throw the whole Green New Deal in the trash can, the solar panels, the windmills, the lithium-based energy economy, there's nothing green about it. In the long run, it takes a whole lot more, carbon emissions to come out on the other side. But it's like going to the store. People don't want to go out back and slaughter an animal anymore and process it and gut it and skin it. They want to go to the store and buy a little package of pretty red saran wrapped meat. They don't want to go out and kill the animal. They don't want to get their hands dirty and burn gasoline. They'll just have a coal plant burn coal so they can make it, you keep their conscience clean. Well, it wasn't my hands that burned the coal. I'm just going to charge my electric car and forget the little, child slave miners that were mining the lithium and cobalt and all the other minerals. So if we could get actual Tesla tech, think about that. If we had real Tesla tech, like over 100 years ago, what they had, you wouldn't have to pay for electricity. And then that electricity could heat your house, cook your food, everything. You wouldn't have to have a gas bill. You wouldn't have to have a heating bill. You wouldn't have to have any of that extra. And that would free up more of your income. If your car, you didn't have to put, say, 25% of your paycheck into the gas tank just to get to work to make more money. That's an extra 25% you got. So all this life force is being sucked out of people just for corporate greed. So this whole new green movement is nothing to do with climate change. It's nothing to do with preserving the environment. It's with shifting the economy from a petroleum-based economy to a lithium-based economy.
Well, at least we're going to run out of lithium soon.
Yeah. It's that scarcity, so they can keep driving the price up. Oh, we're running low on lithium. And China, up until recently, until the discovery under the Salton Lake, they controlled 95% of the lithium mines in the world. So all of a sudden, we're not energy independent. We're dependent on China. So if we could just release the top secret patents, and that's the thing, like if we could just release those and have over unity energy devices, they're real. People get killed that make them. So if we could release that, the whole world would look different.
Absolutely.
And then people could work 10 hours a week and actually focus on spiritual development, just like you're doing.
I mean, we have to find our ways to creatively navigate this matrix. And all of us here right now, like, we found ways to be able to do that. And it's like, a lot of people think that you have to work and you have to do something you hate. And like, really, if you really want out of that, you just have to do it. You have to find a way, and you're going to have to give up a lot of your bullshit creature stuff. Like, no, you're not going to be going out to eat 4 nights a week. It's like, you don't You don't need that $5 fucking bag of chips and a bunch of that craps. Like, drink water, eat simple food, eat real food. Like, no, you don't need a bunch of streaming subscriptions. You got one or two you like, cool. Do something for entertainment. That's fine. But it's not about acquiring more things, not about having a bunch of nice cars and all this fucking debt. Like, you have to sacrifice that stuff. If you really want to get out of this rat race, no, you don't get an $80,000 car right now. Unless you're doing something different. Like, I drive a 1999 fucking pickup truck I bought for $4,000. It's fucking great. And it's like, that's one of the ways that I can live the life that I choose to live. You know, my house isn't huge where I live, but it's a beautiful place. It's like, I like it. And it's like most of my material things, like I don't have a TV at the house. I got computers, a shit ton of crystals and musical instruments. That's pretty much what I have.
I mean, I've streamlined my life to the point where I hardly need an income. I was living in Sedona where you could get a small studio apartment for $2,000 a month. I was living for free. I had my RV, which I almost got given to me at the price I got it for. I renovated it and I had solar panels and I'd fill up water at the spring. So, like, free water and free electricity. And I was living for free. I didn't pay at all for rent or utilities. And I was free in Sedona, one of a place with huge cost of living. So it's not about, like you said, you just have to think outside of the box. Mm-hmm. I've traveled, you've traveled, and we did it on almost no income.
Yeah. It's like I lived in Hawaii for a year. Like, I sold my car to get a plane ticket and an extra $500 in my pocket to get there. Once I got there, like, everything was fine. The food grew on the trees.
Yeah. Hawaii was this whole different lesson of abundance. Mm-hmm. It wasn't about like, climbing that corporate ladder to get more money, to get a fancy car, to get, a watch to show off how much money I'm making. It was just being. Yeah, it was being there.
It's like I had like 3 pairs of shorts and 2 shirts.
Yeah.
Like, most of the days I just walk around in a pair of shorts. If I didn't have to do much, I think maybe one day every 2 weeks, I did work 5 hours a day. I picked fruit for a guy at an orchard. I would make $100 in that 5-hour day, whatever. And that was enough to, I wanted to go to town, get a little treat, throw a little bit of gas money in the car. It's like, yeah, that was cool. But besides that, like, I didn't need that. And it wasn't bad. Like, oh yeah, just give me something to do. Like, just have that little bit. But yeah, it's like no more of that working than driving an hour back to work. It's like you have to choose a different lifestyle and to buy into this idea that you need to get a $100,000 house, which is now $700,000.
Yeah.
And all these cars and super designer clothes and your fucking Apple Watch. And like, my phone's 4 years old right now. It's like, I don't need a new phone. I don't need all that stuff. And in sacrificing those things, I've ascended to a different reality where I'm free. My time is free. My energy is free. And I do what I do of my choosing. And my work that I do as a massage therapist and energy healer, I love doing that stuff. I work one-on-one with people, help them heal their bodies, their minds, and quite often their spirits. And as I'm working with that, like, do it 10, 12 hours a week, give or take. And one-on-one, like, I feel like I'm being of great service. I'm friends with most of my clients. We have deep, meaningful conversations, and that fulfills me. I want to do that. Yeah, sure. Sometimes it's like, oh, I got to work today. Like, but it's not anything like when I was running heavy equipment, fucking running excavators and stuff. Oh yeah, you got to work 10 hours Saturday and 10 hours every other day. It's like, you don't get a choice in this, and da. It's like, I hated my life then. I would fucking, be up at 5 a.m. to work, get off at 5 at night, go to the bar, drink, blow a bunch of coke just so I can do it again.
Yeah.
It's like, that was no way to live. And it's just like, that was killing me at like 21 years old. Like I wanted to fucking die. And like, at that point, by the time I was 22, I gave up everything and I went and lived at a fucking yoga monastery for a year. At 22 years old, I was like, fuck this, I'm going to be a monk. That didn't quite work out, but that really helped me change my perspective of everything.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience. And sometimes, I've charged hard in a direction, and even if it wasn't supposed to be permanent, I had a great experience and learned a lot of lessons. So even though you're not supposed to live a monastic life, it gave you a lot of insights, and it was an experience.
Yeah, and that's climbing the ladder of ascension. All these insights, these experiences that help us to grow. We learn what we don't want through pursuing what we thought we do want, and realize that's not it. That's not it. Not this, not that. Neti neti, as the yogis say, not this, not that, not this, not that. Moving more towards the truth. That is ascension. It's like we learn, we do things that don't work out. And if we're doing it right, we're going to reevaluate, try something different. That's the ladder, the spiral of ascension. And as long as we keep going in that direction of releasing that which doesn't serve us and looking for what is good and what is true, then willfully doing that next good and true thing, then we're on the path. We are ascending. And that's really the key to all this. Ascension isn't some idea that we're going to go up into the sky and become these light beings up with harps and these multidimensional things. Like eventually, yeah, our destiny is in that direction, but it's not something that's going to happen like a light switch. It's a gradual ascension. As long as we're moving upwards, we're evolving, we're learning, and we're growing through the good and the bad. And let's be truth, the bad sometimes is what makes us learn the most. As long as we're in that direction, everything is cool. And if we can choose to not resist what we see as bad, that can shift and no longer be bad. This can all be learning, and everything can be good. Everything can be in alignment with the will and the light of the one infinite creator, the universe.
And that's what I see, this upward spiral of consciousness of ascension. It'll come to the point where we no longer need those painful lessons. You know, people always say, oh, you need pain to grow. And that's a big myth that's been programmed into people. And I'm trying to, you know, when they say that, I'm like, right here, right now. Soon we'll come to the time where we're not creation through contrast, but we're creation through love and creativity. And that's, everything is transitioning. We're not there yet, but you know, I mean, who knows how many eons it'll take to have all of creation be at that level, but we're moving in that direction, and it's exciting.
It really is. It's a great time to be alive, and we're in the most interesting times, and things are moving really fast right now. And if we use every experience as a catalyst to learn and grow and change our perspectives, and if we stop resisting things, those things that used to be pain, if we're not resisting it, it's no longer pain. And it's like when our frame shifts and everything shifts to a point where the experiences are just experiences, and we're learning and growing from that, then we're moving into a fifth dimension. Then we're moving into a new thing, in a place where we can actually instantly manifest our thoughts. Like, as humanity, we're not ready for that yet. Look how fucked up this is right now. If we instantly manifested the latest show on Amazon, we're fucked.
Yeah,
but anyway, like we're heading in that direction, and like everything, we're really on track. And those of us that are more awake, we're pioneers. There's always people a little bit ahead of the flock, a little bit ahead of the herd, and you know, we shine our lights, we work on our own consciousness, and we get to be that change that we want to see. And that's really the key. It's not about telling people things or trying to teach them or change them. It's like, emanate that light. And when a person looks at you and be like, man, what are you doing? What is that light? I want what you have. Then through testimony, you can tell them, they're going to listen.
Yeah.
And that's one of the keys to being a great teacher and being that example, is just do it through testimony. Do it through living your best life.
Yeah, being the example. Yeah, doing through just being. Yeah,
exactly.
Like I went to a workshop in Sedona, and really, really good. The guy brought out a bouncy ball, and he goes, "Yeah, imagine this is like everything you know when you're getting started." And then he brings out like like a tennis ball, and like then, you know, you grow and you're like here, and then you're looking back, wow, I know all this much more. And you know, like then, you know, people can almost develop a spiritual ego looking, well, you know, they only have that much knowledge. And then you get up to here, and I'm like, well, when you get up to, you know, he had like a big bouncy medicine ball, ab ball thing, and I'm like, okay, well, when you get up to there and beyond, you realize that you don't know anything. Everything is, the more you know, the more you don't know, and the more you are accepting of that. Yeah, so it seems like the less you know, the more confident you are in knowing what you think you know. But then when you actually do know more, you learn more, you actually travel to the far edges of consciousness, you realize there is so much you don't know. Infinity is big, and there's so much to know. So I know this much. So when you get to that big ball size, you're like, oh no, I'm not actually there. I'm there. Much smaller than even that bouncy ball where I started.
Yeah, I remember one of my teachers, a great saying they had, it's like, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's a huge one. There's, as soon as you think you know everything, you're not teachable. And if you're not teachable, then you're stuck. It's like,
Yeah.
always learn, always expand, and realize that like the great mystery is so much bigger than we can possibly fathom. Like you have a mainstream science just looking at this universe and all the, it's like, you know how many universes there are? I sure as hell don't, but there's a lot more than this one.
Yeah.
And
Oh, and the battery's still going.
yeah.
Well, no one's watching right now. We have 3 likes though.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, it's probably getting close to time to wrap it up, I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good talk, and we just keep ascending and do the next good and true thing. Coordinate what's good with your heart, really feel what that is, the feminine principle, see the truth of a situation with your mind, then coordinate your heart and your mind, your good and your true with your will to do whatever the next good and true thing is, then you're ascending. Just if you're constantly doing that in every moment, you're on the path. And that's one of the things I live my life by. And my teacher has drilled that in my head for the past 5 years. Just like he says, the highest accomplishment any human being can have is to sense with their heart what is true, to sense with their heart what is good, to see what is true with their mind, and to willfully do that next good and true thing. Just keep doing that in every moment.
Yeah. And sometimes it's a lot simpler than it's made out to be, but then sometimes it is more complicated. But
yeah, just because it's simple doesn't mean it's easy.
Yeah, very true. And one thing I've found is that just because it works for someone else doesn't mean it has to work for you. Like everybody has their own path, their own unique, like we've had similar parts of our journeys, but we've also had differences, and that's how we can have interesting conversations.
Absolutely. If I was just like talking to me, it'd be pretty boring.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you everyone for watching, and hopefully we will get on doing this on a regular schedule. So thank you so much, and we hope you got a little bit of something from our conversation.
It's great to be here, and until next time, safe travels, everybody.